is completed. Some housekeeping items before we begin. A reminder, this meeting is being recorded on Teams, and the recording will be posted on the HCDSB website. For all meeting participants, please use the raise hand function in the Teams if you would like to speak. For boardroom participants, a reminder that the overhead microphone system will automatically project your voice whenever you speak during this meeting. Unless prompted by myself, please refrain from speaking when it is not your turn to speak. If participating via Teams, please keep your microphone muted and camera off when not speaking. And I kindly request that the land acknowledgement be played.
Halton, as we know it today,
is rich in the history and modern traditions
of many First Nations in the Métis,
from the lands of the Anishinaabe
to the Attawandaron,
the Haudenosaunee,
and the Métis.
These lands surrounding the Great Lake
are steeped in Indigenous history.
As we gather today
on these treaty lands,
our Catholic social teachings
call us in solidarity
with our Indigenous brothers and sisters.
So honor and respect
the four directions:
lands,
waters, plants,
animals,
and ancestors
that walked before us.
All of these wonderful elements of creation exist,
gifted to us by our Creator God. We acknowledge and thank
the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation
for being stewards of this traditional territory.
Thank you. Let us begin our meeting with an opening prayer. Please join me in a sign of our faith. In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving God, as we gather today in this season of Advent, we pause to remember your promise of hope and light. You call us to trust in your goodness, to wait with joyful expectation, and to prepare our hearts for the coming of Christ. Bless our work today with wisdom and understanding. May our discussions be guided by your spirit of peace and justice. Help us to listen with respect, speak with clarity, and act with generosity of spirit. As we journey toward Christmas, renew our faith so that we may reflect your light in all that we do. May this meeting strengthen our commitment to serve others with compassion and humility. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Father, and Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let's take a look at the agenda that's before us. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Trustee Carabello.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to inquire because I was expecting something in the action items about the boundary policy I-04. I'm wondering when that's coming up because it was brought forward in September as a discussion item and expecting it in October, and it didn't come, and then not in November either. And I was expecting it again to see some tweaking on the dates we were talking about. So that's my question.
The question is to the chair?
Because we're doing approval of the agenda. So I'm just wondering when that is going to come up.
I'll seek some form of support from anybody here in terms of that.
Yeah, sorry, can I also, so the October 4th meeting, there was a commitment by superintendent to bring that to the next meeting, which would have been November, so that didn't happen.
Chair?
Trustee?
Right. My recollection is that it was supposed to be a procedure amendment to be made and to be done by staff. Superintendent, I'm not sure if I don't think it was a policy amendment, it was a procedural amendment, but I may be wrong, but Superintendent McCutcheon could speak to that.
Yeah, if you review the October meeting, it was a commitment to bring it forward as an agenda.
Not as policy though.
In policy,
procedure.
Yeah, in policy.
Procedure.
As procedure.
No, but it was agenda.
Yeah.
I meant I meant policy.
I obviously we're disagreeing. I think my understanding was it was procedural. That was the next step forward, so not policy. Superintendent Bakich.
Thank you, Director Klein. I believe Trustee Carabella, based on the conversations that you had with Superintendent Merrick, it was to be reflected in a procedure. As a next step, I can.
Well, if you want, we can watch the meeting. It's the October meeting. You can see the commitments made.
We can review that.
We look at the minutes as well, right?
Okay.
That. So, and those minutes I think would have been brought up at the meeting that followed that. So I don't know if there were questions at that point. Okay. Beyond that, seeing none in terms of the agenda, do I have a mover to approve the agenda? Forgive me if I'm looking at, I see Trustee Carabella, your hand up, but if there's anybody else, just somebody needs to give me a flag here. Chair Duarte.
I can second it, Mr. Chair.
Trustee Agnew. Any opposed?
I'm opposed to the agenda.
Sorry, in favor?
Take it to a recording.
Okay.
Yeah. In favor.
Trustee Duarte.
Favor.
Trustee Carabella.
Opposed.
Trustee Kelly.
In favor.
Kennedy.
Opposed.
Trustee Murphy. In favor. Trustee O'Hearn-Trinata.
In favor.
Trustee Powell.
In favor.
Trustee Saunders. Student Trustee Adelaide.
Opposed.
Trustee Hannah.
Abstain.
Trustee Parasram.
Abstain.
Six in favor. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Third in vote. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 in favor. 3 opposed. Motion, the agenda carries. The motion passes, the agenda is approved. Are there any conflicts of interest to declare this evening? There are no delegations this evening. Minutes of our last meeting, November 11th, remember that. Are there any errors, additions, or deletions to those minutes? Seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the November 11th, 2025 Policy Committee meeting.
I'll move it.
Steve O'Hearn-Trinata and Trustee Agnew
Sure.
as seconded. All in favor?
In favor.
Opposed?
Mr. Chair, I just have to abstain because I wasn't at that meeting. So I'm abstaining.
Okay. We need a recorded vote for this.
No, you don't need one.
Okay, all in favor? We did the all in favor?
Mm-hmm.
All opposed? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Action items. The election of the chair of the policy committee. As this is our first policy committee meeting after the November 18th, 2025 inaugural board meeting, we require a trustee to assume the position of chair of the policy committee. Should a vote by ballot become necessary this evening, I will conduct the election. Superintendent Bakich will act as scrutineer. While I tabulate the ballots, Superintendent Bakich will distribute the envelopes with the blank ballots. For trustees who are joining us electronically and who choose to vote, may at the time of the votes being cast their vote by email to Scrutineer Bakich. Scrutineer Bakich will mark the vote on the paper ballot in the same form and manner as though the ballot had been marked in person by the voter. The ballots will then be included with other ballots to be counted. The ballots cast electronically in this matter are subject to the same obligations of confidentiality on the part of the scrutineer as those cast by voters physically at the meeting. I'll now ask for nominations to come forward to the position of chair of the policy committee. Trustee Murphy.
I'd like to nominate Trustee Agnew.
Is there a seconder for that?
Yeah, I can second. It's Pal. Oh,
Just
go ahead.
Trustee Powell. Does Trustee Agnew accept the nomination?
Yes, I will.
Thank you, Trustee Agnew. Are there any other nominations? Trustee Carabella?
I'd like to nominate Trustee Saunders.
And Trustee Carabella, can I assume you're the mover then?
I'm the mover, yes.
Okay. And the seconder for this?
Trustee Kennedy,
Sorry.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Trustee Kennedy, seconded by Trustee Kennedy. Does Trustee Saunders accept the nomination for the position of chair of the policy committee?
Sure do. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Saunders. Are there any more nominations to come forward before closing the nominations for chair of the policy committee? Are there any more nominations for this chair position? Final request, last call. Seeing none, we are going to go to a vote. Seeing no further nominations, may I request a mover and a seconder to close the nominations for the position of chair of the policy committee.
I'll move.
Moved by Trustee Murphy, seconded by Trustee O'Hearn-Shinada. All in favor?
Favor.
Opposed? That is carried. I would now like to give each nominee for chair an opportunity, if they wish to say a few words, and allow trustees to ask questions of candidate prior to the vote. One order of the nominees here. And so I will start with, again, if you wish, you can say a few words, and trustees can ask any questions prior to this vote. I'll start with Trustee Agnew.
Sure, I don't have anything prepared, but certainly bring experience to this nomination. Been, a trustee going into my 8th year with the board. I've been the chair of SEAC for a number of years as well. I've been intimately involved, as you know, with several policy committees. I sit on a number of committees at the board, have been well-versed in our bylaws. Looking forward to doing the very best that I can for all of my fellow trustees to run a fair and equitable meeting, in the effort of transparency and open communication. I'd very much like the opportunity to do that. Like I said, I don't really have anything else. I don't have anything prepared, but would love your support.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Trustee Agnew? Thank you very much. Trustee Saunders, would you care to say a few words?
Sure. I'd like to, I think it's important to sort of keep sort of new blood into these positions to bring different perspectives. I think also as a member of the Métis Nation of Ontario and soon to be a member of the Métis Nation of Manitoba, I think this diversity is important to have in our senior positions in the board. I think it demonstrates an openness to diversity and an interest in moving these important issues forward. So like I said, I think it's important. It's an opportunity for me to grow as a trustee, to learn what we're doing, how things operate. I haven't been a chair before. Many of the other trustees have had that opportunity. And I think it's important just to bring these perspectives and new ideas into these roles. So I would appreciate your support, and I'm looking forward to doing a great job as the chair.
Thank you, Trustee Saunders. Are there any questions for Trustee Saunders? Okay, seeing none. We'll now proceed to vote by secret ballot on the resolution for the appointment of the position of chair of the policy committee. Scrutineer Bakaich will proceed to distribute the ballots provided in the envelope for you to cast your vote for chair of the policy committee. Once completed, please return the ballot to the envelope and it will be collected by scrutineer Bukage. Once again, you're voting on the position of chair of the policy committee. I'll be acting as the returning officer. Superintendent Bukage will collect them when you're ready. Then we'll go down the vote.
Thank you.
So a reminder to our trustees who are joining us online, if you would email Superintendent Bukage with your selection.
Okay, it's done.
Thank you.
Select them all of these. Okay, thank you, everyone. Trustee Agnew is declared Chair of the Policy Committee of the Halton Catholic District School Board for the period December the 9th, 2025 to the first policy meeting in December 2026. I now ask for a mover and a seconder that the ballots be destroyed. So Trustee Duarte moved, seconded by Carabella. All in favor? Opposed? Mayor Page, please proceed with the destruction of the ballots. And congratulations, Trustee Agnew.
Thank you. Thank you.
I invite Madam Chair Agnew to come take to preside over the remaining items on the policy agenda meeting. We'll take a 5-minute recess to allow for this transition.
Perfect. Thank you. Again, everyone can take their seats. Just quickly, thank you, everyone. I look forward to serving as your chair for the next year. And please feel free to help me out at any point if you feel like there's something that could be improved upon. And like I said, I look forward to doing my very best. So thank you so much. So we will continue with this evening's policy committee meeting agenda item 6.2. The next item on our agenda is policy I, governance of policy. Trustees, can I have someone please move that the policy committee recommends that policy I, governance of policy, be forwarded to the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting for approval. May I have a mover?
What?
Trustee Dewart and a seconder.
I'll second it. Second, it's Powell.
And Trustee O'Hearns Renata, just in the nick of time. Great. Thank you so much. Dr. Klein, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Policy I, governance of policy, has been reviewed by staff and others as part of the policy review cycle. Minor housekeeping changes have been made throughout this. The revised policy I, governance of policy, is attached for your review and consideration by this policy committee.
Thank you so much. Trustees, I will now open the floor to any questions. No. Great. All right, seeing no hands up, I will now take it to a recorded vote of the main motion. Trustee Dewart?
In favor.
Trustee Carabella?
In favor.
Trustee Kelly?
In favor.
Trustee Kennedy?
In favor.
Trustee Murphy?
In favor.
Trustee O'Hearns Renato? In favor. Trustee Powell?
In favor.
Trustee Saunders?
Favor.
Trustee Adelaide? In favor. Trustee Hannah?
In favor.
And Trustee Paris Brown? In favor. And I am also in favor. So the policy is approved. The policy will be brought forward to the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting. The next item on our agenda is policy I-26, which is student trustees on the Halton Catholic District School Board. Trustees, can I have someone please move that the policy committee recommends that policy I-26, student trustees on the Halton Catholic District School Board, be forwarded to the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting for approval. May I have a mover?
Sure.
Trustee Dewart, and I saw Trustee Murphy's hand up there. Second. Thank you. And Superintendent Del Sordo, you have the floor.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. Policy I-26, student trustees on the Halton Catholic District School Board, has been reviewed as a part of the regular policy review cycle. Its references and requirements have been updated, and minor housekeeping changes have been made throughout.
Thank you so much. Trustees, I will now open the floor to any questions on policy I-26. Yes, Trustee Caravella, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I get some clarity, or not clarity, but a reminder of how it happened that we don't have, that being a Catholic is not one of the requirements for this student trustee?
Trustee, Superintendent Del Sordo, are you able to assist with that?
Yes, and through you, Madam Chair. Part of the Ontario Divisional Court ruling, which was, I think, about 3 years ago, stated that that given that during the time of Confederation, there was no position for the student trustees, so it didn't fall under that ruling. So they did say that any non-Catholic student who attends a Catholic school can run for the position of student trustee. So the court stated that any application of the case law, legislation, and the history to the facts of a particular case must begin with a consideration of whether the right being relied upon was present at the time of Confederation. The court found that there was no right or privilege extended to separate schools. or for that matter, any public schools, allowing student trustees at the time of confederation. The position of student trustees did not exist in the current form until 2006, after first being introduced through the amendments to the Education Act in 1997. And as such, the court found that the protection offered by Section 93 of the Constitution Act will not be available in the respect of the treatment of the student trustees benefit.
Trustee Carroll, did you have a follow-up question or another review?
Sure. To follow up then, so then after that court case, then all the boards change their student trustee policy and they're mandated to do that? Or did they still vote? You still voted back then, do you remember?
Superintendent Alsworth.
Madam Chair. Yes, I believe they were mandated that all boards had to update their policy, which we did update back 3 years ago.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Are there any other trustees that have any questions regarding this policy? No? Great, okay. So trustees, I will thank you very much, Superintendent Del Sordo. Trustees, I will now take this to a recorded vote of the main motion. Trustee Dewart?
In favor.
Trustee Carabella?
I'm going to be opposed.
Trustee Kelly?
In favor.
Trustee Kennedy?
In favor.
Trustee Murphy?
In favor.
Trustee O'Hearns-Renata? In favor. Trustee Powell?
In favor.
Trustee Saunders?
Abstain.
I'm sorry?
Abstain.
Trustee Adelaide?
Opposed.
Trustee Hannah?
In favor.
And Trustee Parisram?
In favor.
I am also in favor, so the motion passes. The policy will be brought forward to the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting. The next item on our agenda is policy II-38, Educational Resource. Trustees, can I have someone please move that the policy committee recommends that policy II-38, Educational Research, be forwarded to the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting for approval. May I have a mover? I'll move it. Trustee Dewart. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Thank you, Trustee O'Hearns-Renata. Okay, Dr. Collymore, you have the floor.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Policy II-38, Educational Research, has been reviewed as part of the normal policy review cycle. The associated policies and procedures, references and definitions have been updated, and the principles and requirements have also been updated to reflect current terminology and processes. There are also some minor housekeeping changes made throughout the document. The policy is attached for review and consideration by this policy committee. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Dr. Collymore. Trustees, I will now open the floor to any questions that you may have. Yes, Trustee Carabella, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the second bullet of principles, it says data is to be used to improve achievement and well-being, not to stigmatize or harm. And I'm wondering why the not to stigmatize or harm was included, because I think the statement that it's used to improve achievement and well-being is, I don't know if we want to say like not, I don't think anybody would do that. So I don't know if it's necessary to actually verbalize that.
Would you like me to get Dr. Collymore to? Yeah, no problem. Dr. Collymore, would you be able to address Trustee Carabella's question?
Sure. Through you, Madam Chair. Thanks for the question, Trustee Carabella. So this addition to this bullet was added as it relates to the MYSP pillar of becoming, where we are to embed language of equity and inclusion into our policies. And so this sentence was added to highlight that we are using data to inform our decisions when it comes to achievement and well-being, and we are not going to be stigmatizing or harming through data. And so that is why this one was included for this principle.
Thank you. Trustee Carabella, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I don't know. It just stuck out as not being necessary, that obviously we're not going to use our data to stigmatize or harm. We're going to use it for well-being and achievement. So I don't know if we can take that out. Can I make an amendment to take that out?
Yeah, you can make an amendment if you like.
See.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll do that, yeah.
Can we get that up on the screen? Are you trying to give me a run for my money tonight, Trustee Carabella?
Practice it.
All right, we'll put that up on the screen.
Motion to amend.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it as a manager?
I'm going to ask first if we're going to do it as a friendly, and then.
Right.
Is everybody willing to make that a friendly amendment? Is anyone opposed to that? Friendly amendment?
I'm opposed. Can I just see it up there?
Yeah, of course.
It's just the section of not to stigmatize and harm, but to keep the data is to be used to improve
Well-being,
achievement.
just that last after the comma. So Trustee Carabella, you're making a motion then to amend?
Yes, just that little not to stigmatize or harm.
Okay, do I have someone who is seconding that amendment? Trustee Saunders? Okay. Trustee Carabella, did you want to speak to that?
I think, yeah.
Okay. Did anybody have any questions or comments? Yes, Trustee Murphy.
Yeah, I understand what Trustee Carabella is saying, and I agree with her. I don't foresee where we would ever, as the organization as I know it today, would ever use data to stigmatize or harm. But I would like to defer to Dr. Collmore and just maybe get a little more background on that. We're making rules not for today and all of us as we know it, but for the future. So is that common practice? So through you, Madam Chair, to Dr. Collmore, is this a standard clause and common practice in your research field?
Through you, Madam Chair. Thanks for the question, Trustee Murphy. It really is included here or was added here for consideration to align with our MYSP and also the work that we're doing with respect to equity and inclusion across the system. And so it's important for us to be accountable and transparent. And I agree that we would never do this intentionally, but also to tell our stakeholders, our community, that we would never do that. And so it's a statement to confirm that we are using it to improve achievement and well-being, and we will not be using it to stigmatize or harm. So that's why it was included explicitly here.
Do you have a follow-up?
No, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Coleman.
Welcome. Trustee Hannah, did you have your hand?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. I do feel like this is a slight bit overblown, if I may. I think rules are not created for the current board. They are created for the board in the future. And while this isn't strictly necessary, and I don't think it's necessary at all right now, I don't think it's so terrible as to where it would need to be removed. I think this is a perfectly okay statement, and I think just out of caution, I think we should leave it in because again, we do not know how the board will be 50 years from now. Now, hopefully this would never have to be used, and again, it is a very minor clause, but I do not think it is necessary, especially when it does align a little bit better with my MYSP when it is there.
Thank you, Trustee Hannah. Trustee Saunders, you have your hand up?
Yeah, you know what, the more I look at it, it is open to interpretation. I mean, if we leave it in there, there could be at some point in the future where people decide something that we wouldn't consider harming or stigmatizing is, and that this would give them an opportunity to sort of, either accept or reject information. So I think it should be out because I think it does add a little bit of ambiguity and an opportunity, if we are speaking about the future, to be misused in the future. I think saying data is used to improve achievement and well-being, fairly clear, very clear. And then the other part, that's where I think you can start getting into some interpretations that might not, like I said, may not be something we would consider today, but might be something someone could use in the future.
Thank you, Trustee Saunders. Do you mind just putting your hand down if you're done for now? That's okay. Trustee Kennedy, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I just think it could be a little bit redundant. I mean, essentially, if we have this in here, we could put this after every single policy that involves anything that affects student achievement and well-being, which are pretty much all the policies, because that's what we've been told to do, and that's part of the the new Better Student and the Student Success Outcomes Act. So I just think that if we add this here, I feel like we would probably have to add it to every policy. And I don't know if it's actually necessary, given we've been told to improve student achievement and well-being. I think it kind of speaks for itself. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Kennedy. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak to the amendment? Okay, so just to reiterate, it has been moved and seconded that the amendment to the motion is to strike not to stigmatize or harm. We will go ahead and take a recorded vote on the amendment first. Okay. Trustee Dewart.
Opposed.
Trustee Carabella.
In favor.
Okay. Trustee Kelly.
Opposed.
Trustee Kennedy.
In favor.
Trustee Murphy.
Opposed.
Trustee O'Hearn-Renata.
Opposed. It needs to stay there. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Powell.
I'm opposed as well.
Trustee Saunders.
I'm in favor.
Okay. Trustee Adelaide. Abstain. Okay. Trustee Hannah.
Opposed.
Trustee Paris-Ram.
In favor.
Okay. And I am opposed. So the amendment to the motion fails. We will now, oh, sorry, Trustee Kennedy, is that your hand up from before?
Yeah, that's from before, sorry.
Okay, perfect, no problem. All right, so now we'll move to voting on back to the main motion. Was there any additional questions on the main motion before we take this to a recorded vote? Trustee Carabella, go ahead.
I did put up my hand again.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see it.
No, so in page 3, the informed consent, it talks about down past the middle, external researchers are responsible for obtaining active consent from parents or guardians.
So 1 sec, Trustee.
Yeah.
We're just going to get to it. Sorry, Trustee Carroll, just 1 sec. Let's just get on the screen so we can.
That's it. But
okay.
It has the word active consent. So this is a new word for me because I've been involved in other phrases with consent or other issues with consent, and I understood it should be express consent. Or is there a difference between active and express consent, or does it mean the same thing? Thank you.
Dr. Collymore, would you be able to assist Trustee Carabella with your question?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Trustee Carabella. Thanks for the question. So that addition has really just been taken from the principal. So the principal statement was moved into that bullet with respect to informed consent. And so active and express are very similar in that it is consent that is taken prior to the collection.
Okay, so just to clarify, that they're asked to opt in because express consent means they opt into the survey.
That means that external researchers who are doing research within our board have to use active consent from parents, so that a permission form needs to be filled out and completed before any data collection can take place by the external researcher. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Trustee Carabella?
That's great.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, Dr. Collymore. Seeing no other hands, we will now move to taking a vote on the main motion. I'm going to go in the same order because I'm just going to keep it easy. Trustee Dewar? In favor. Trustee Carabella?
In favor.
Okay. Trustee Kelly?
In favor.
Trustee Kennedy?
In favor.
Trustee Murphy?
In favor.
Trustee O'Hearn-Renata?
In favor?
Trustee Powell?
I'm in favor.
Trustee Saunders?
Favor.
Trustee Adelai? Trustee Hannah?
In favor.
Trustee Paris-Grant?
In favor.
And I am also in favor, so the motion passes. The policy will be brought forward to the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting. Okay, the next item on our agenda is policy II-52. Student use of service animals in schools. Trustees, can I please have someone move that the policy committee recommends that policy II-52, student use of service animals, be forwarded to the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting for approval. May I have a mover?
I can move it. It's Powell.
Give it, Trustee Powell. Move. Trustee O'Hearn-Renata, you good with the second?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, perfect. Superintendent Jack Caldera, you have the floor.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. Policy II-52, student use of service animals in schools, has been reviewed as part of the regular policy review cycle. In consultation with SEAC, the application, scope, and principles have been updated, and you'll see that there are some minor housekeeping changes made throughout and is presented to you for today's consideration.
Thank you very much. Do any trustees have questions? I will now open the floor to questions. All right. Seeing none, I will now take that to a recorded vote of the main motion. Trustee Dewar?
Favor.
Trustee Carabella?
In favor.
Trustee Kelly?
In favor.
Trustee Kennedy?
In favor.
Trustee Murphy?
In favor.
Trustee O'Hearn-Renata?
In favor?
Trustee Powell?
In favor.
Trustee Saunders?
Favor.
Trustee Adelai?
In favor.
Trustee Hannah?
In favor.
Trustee Paris-Grant?
In favor.
And I am also in favor. So this policy will be brought forward to the December 16th, 2025 regular board meeting. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to item number 7, which is discussion items. We have one discussion item on this evening's policy agenda. Item 7.1 HCDSB procedure bylaw is being brought forward by Trustee O'Hearn-Renata. Trustee O'Hearn-Renata, you have the floor.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair and fellow trustee colleagues. I just want to open up a discussion about this particular bylaw. I'm going to read the commentary a little bit just to go over it so we all are on the same page here. Currently, our Halton Catholic District School Board procedural bylaw allows trustees to abstain from voting on motions. So if you refer to our bylaw 2.15 majority, means a majority. In other words, more than half of the votes cast, and refer to bylaw 11.4, affirmative vote required, except as otherwise provided in this bylaw, or where applicable, the current edition of Robert's Rules of Order newly revised, an affirmative vote shall require a majority of the votes of the trustees who do vote. In brackets, abstentions are not votes and are ignored in determining the result of a vote. While intended to provide a neutral option, the ability to abstain from the vote can obscure a trustee's position and undermine accountability, as in the instance where it is used to signal unspoken dissent or discomfort with formally recording opposition. To increase transparency and accountability, amending the bylaw is proposed to eliminate non-conflict related abstentions and requiring trustees to vote yes or no on all motions. The exception would be the case of a trustee's conflict of interest, whereas either for pecuniary or personal reasons. This change would ensure every trustee's stance on a motion is explicitly recorded, promoting clear and more transparent government. So you'll say, Janet, why do you want to bring this up? Well, a couple of years ago, we had a whole bylaw review. Trustee Murphy actually was the chair of that review. And we brought forward this bylaw. And in that change, we just talked about what would that vote be? If someone abstains from a vote, it would be a no vote. It would be a nothing vote. Through those years, I've had some feedback from stakeholders that they don't quite understand. They'll watch these meetings and they won't understand why someone's abstaining. Why doesn't someone say yes or no? We've done some research to other boards. So I've got Duffer and Peel, you have to vote. Hamilton Catholic is a little vague. York, not allowed for abstentions. Toronto Catholic, they all vote.
Halton Public all vote, Sudbury, they're all vote. This is just a few of them. So, and I've really tried to figure out when would I need to abstain? When would I need to not say yes or no? If I missed a meeting, we have recorded meetings, right? So we can go back and watch those meetings that we missed to discern. And part of my personal opinion, part of our role as a trustee as governance is to do our due diligence so that we have information required we need to vote yes or no. We are voted in by our stakeholders. I think they have a right to know where we stand on a particular topic so they can provide us feedback. Hey, Janet, I didn't like that you voted no to that. Or hey, Janet, I didn't like that you voted yes to that. Why is that? It opens that discussion as well. So I'd like to bring it forward to everybody for discussions as far as potentially next steps, opening the bylaw and putting a motion through to open this bylaw and have a discussion to potentially change that and allow no abstentions at all. So I leave it to us to have a nice fulsome discussion this evening on. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Trustee O'Hearns-Renata. We have a couple of hands up. Trustee Saunders.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand this if we were having issues where we weren't being able to come to majority votes. And I don't think there's been any issues with that. There's been a few occasions when I think trustees have had to abstain because of conflict of interest or other reasons. So I don't see that we need this. And I also recall actually Trustee O'Hearns-Renata abstaining on our vote on the sending the letter to the ministry for the audit. And I don't understand how you be this strong on this, but when it served you, you abstain. So
excuse me, Trustee Saunders.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, please.
Please.
It serves me. So in that regard, Trustee Saunders, I think sometimes we all make mistakes. So maybe I made a mistake. I think that's the only abstention I've made in 7 years. So please try not inferring my personal conduct. That I will take. I would like you to apologize for that.
But you're inferring.
Please apologize.
Okay. Thank you.
That is a personal attack.
Trustee Saunders, I think we can probably discuss and comment on the item before us without making it personal to another trustee. We can't infer what someone. Trustee Saunders, we can't infer or guess or imply what somebody's motivation may be. So if you have your comments or your opinion or questions you'd like to have on this, please go ahead. But please try to keep it numbered.
Okay, so I don't think this is necessary. I don't think being forced to display whether we're for or against something when we really can't make a decision is going to advance the decisions of this board in any way. So I would say this is unnecessary.
Thank you, Trustee Saunders. I did, Trustee O'Hearns-Renata, I did hear a comment about conflict of interest, and I wondered if you maybe wanted to respond to that as a reason for abstention.
Yeah, that came up. We do have a procedure for a conflict of interest where you have to fill out and follow the procedure and then you don't have a vote at all. You're not allowed to vote at all. So that would take care of that. I would really like to know what, Trustee Saunders said about abstaining and reasons to abstain. I've tried to find reasons to abstain. You brought up the one past. Okay, so maybe I made a mistake. I apologize for that. Please forgive me. But why would we abstain? I don't understand. I've tried to poke holes in everything. I can't find the reason as a trustee. So maybe someone around the table can help me or support moving this bylaw forward.
Thank you, Trustee O'Hearns-Renata. We do have a couple more hands up. So I will welcome Trustee Hannah if you would like to speak to this.
Sure, yes, I would like to. I do, through Madam Chair, I do think abstentions are necessary. There are cases where a trustee doesn't feel that they have a strong enough understanding of a certain issue to confidently say that they wish to vote. There are also times when a trustee may not have an opinion on a certain issue or they are sort of split. And while they should make a decision, the option of abstaining is very much still necessary, especially in cases where the trustee simply does not feel like they have the ability of making an informed decision. Also, while there are school boards, and I will admit this, there are more school boards that do not allow abstentions than those that do. Hamilton Wentworth does, York Region does. There are definitely school boards that allow abstaining. So I do think that this is coming from a good place, but I do not think removing the ability to abstain is at all in the best interests of the board.
Thank you, Trustee Hannah. Next on our list, we have Trustee Carabella.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say that the way it's phrased here too, Madam Chair, because the ability to abstain from a vote can obscure a trustee's position and undermine where it's used to signal unspoken dissent or discomfort. That's also like inferring a reason. And I do believe that as we just heard there's sometimes you don't have enough information or we have the right to abstain. Like it is a valid way to vote. And I think as trustees, we should be able to keep our valid ways of voting that's in Parliament, that's used in Parliament. And I also just wanted to ask for clarification how abstentions how are they counted or not counted? Because I think it's never affected a vote of a board, but I remember that there were so many abstentions that we didn't have a majority.
It counts as a no vote.
It counts as a no vote. Okay.
Sorry.
Point of order.
Yeah, point of order.
Sorry.
All the non-vote.
Sorry, that's what I meant, non-vote. I'm sorry, non-vote.
So it doesn't go towards the total.
The total votes,
So
yeah.
for example, you could have 7 abstentions and 2 people voting, 1 in favor, 1 against, and it's a tie.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So
Sorry, thank you for the clarification.
11.4.
Yeah.
Can I speak to some of this?
So let me get through if you want to keep your notes, let me get through everybody if that's okay. And then, Trustee Carabella, are you?
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
Trustee Murphy, my apologies, I skipped over you. I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay. I'm a bit of a wallflower.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, you're so
People tend
quiet
to
over there.
pass over
I
me.
didn't. Yeah, I forgot you were here. I forgot you were here.
I'm
So
used to it in life.
I'm sorry for that. Please go ahead.
Okay, where to start? I don't know if everybody remembers back, but during the bylaw review committee, we did extensive discussions on this, which I'll leave that cliffhanger to the end. So Robert's Rules of Order is great, but it's really meant to cover from a small garden committee about roses to large parliamentarians, and it's meant to cover all bases. So in there, you really need to have, again, this is all my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. You have to read in intent and understand what the intent is. In Robert's Rules, it's almost a little bit explicit. It says you should vote whenever possible. The only time you shouldn't vote is during when there's a conflict. However, you can't be compelled to vote. So by putting in that wording, however, you cannot be compelled to vote, it really contradicts itself and makes these discussions very difficult. Everywhere else you read, it's you're elected, you're intended to vote, that's your duty, that's your responsibility. Most boards have codified it, and they put it actually in their bylaws or in their code of conducts that you have to vote. Actually, a lot of them, the chair has to vote. It's actually in the bylaws also. So, and I think part of that is, again, this is anecdotal. This is my opinion, which I think highly of, is, voters vote for us and they expect us to take a position. If we don't take a position, how can they understand what we stand for? How can they ask questions? We didn't make, abstention is just that. It's a non-vote. I don't have opinion on the matter. And I think it's a fine point. I think it's nuanced, but I think it's important. I think voters expect us, our parents expect us to take a position, because in that position, then there can be discussion, right? In that, if they're opposed to our decision, then they can contact us and we can have that discussion. So I think it's important. I'm not casting aspersions or judgments on anybody, and I understand if you don't have the information that's critical. There are other methods in our bylaws, which is to ask for more information or to postpone, to lay on the table. There's quite a few other tools to get the information that you need. So the challenge we had is, so most boards ignored that part of Robert's Rules, said that you can't force somebody to vote, and they put it in and codified it. The reason why we didn't, this is the cliffhanger, the reason why we didn't, because it could be legally challenged. right? So that's why our parliamentarian gave us advice and said that if you put that in, there is potential for a legal challenge, and that's not necessarily something you want to, as a board, have to deal with. My personal opinion is I think it's important that we take a stance. It allows engagement. It allows our constituents and parents and ratepayers all to know where we stand, and then they can have a dialogue with us, which is either changing our opinion or enlightening us, or we can enlighten them with why we made that decision.
Thank you, Trustee Murphy. The next speaker we have on our list is Trustee Powell. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, a lot of my questions were answered through previous trustees. I agree with what Trustee Murphy said just now about, we're elected to vote. So, but I did have a question about the abstain versus the conflict of interest. We do have a right, or we do have the obligation to report a conflict of interest, correct? It's instead of using an abstain vote. Is that like, is there ever a time if you have a conflict of interest that you would use an abstain as opposed to declaring a conflict of interest? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. If you have a conflict of interest, you should technically follow the process to declare that conflict of interest. If that's the reason you were thinking that you would need to abstain, if it is a conflict of interest, then you would declare a conflict of interest. It's there for that. Go ahead, Trustee George. Chair George is going to just further elaborate.
Madam Chair, our practice here is if you declare a conflict of interest, you're not voting.
Right. You're not voting. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So it's just, it doesn't even count. We don't even vote. It's a conflict of interest. Okay. Okay. No, everything else has been answered, so I'm good. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Trustee Powell. Trustee Pearsram.
So, through you, Madam Chair.
Of course.
Other trustees have stated it really well. I do, however, believe that abstentions are necessary. Now, I do completely understand where you're coming from. I think that it's important that we as trustees take a stance on these issues. It's part of our role to take a stance and ensure that our decisions are being instrumental in affecting the students and our constituents. However, one thing I would also like to highlight is the consequences of making an uninformed vote. The thing about is that a lot of times we may not always have complete knowledge of the issue, and thus we're voting in favor or opposed to an issue that we're not super well versed in. And this policy, whatever is being carried forward, directly influences the people who we represent. And so thus, just through that one element, really just the consequences of making an uninformed vote. Honestly, from personal experience, as student trustees, there are aspects of different policies and different motions that are being put forward that we don't understand. And so in those cases, abstentions do help us ensure that we are, in a way, best representing our students, because we're not making a vote. Because our vote is extremely important, and making a vote that you're not strongly supporting or standing behind can have an adverse effect on our students. So other than that, other trustees have stated it really well. I do believe taking a stance is necessary, and abstention should be discouraged during most scenarios. However, that just simple element of the fact that a vote that is not backed by, that you don't not fully support, that could be consequential.
Thank you, Trustee Pearsram. Trustee Kennedy, have you spoken to this yet?
No.
Sorry. Okay, I just wanted to be sure before I went on to. So go ahead, please, Trustee Kennedy.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I think I have to agree with our student trustees and apparently our parliamentarian who looked into this. I didn't know that, and I think it was Trustee Murphy that just mentioned that there could be a legal challenge if we remove this. The way I look at abstentions is I do agree with what a few trustees have said, that you may not have proper information. Come back to that in a second. But, our federal parliament has abstentions. Not that we base everything on what they do, but it is allowed there. Robert's Rules has it. It does mention, a majority vote is more than half of the votes cast by the persons entitled to vote, excluding blanks or abstentions at a regular or properly called meeting. And we do base a lot of what we do on Robert's Rules, which I think is what our parliamentarian may have been referencing. I would say another reason why we may need to have abstentions is because there could be very large motions with many, many pieces to them. And it may be the fact that as a trustee, you may not agree with a certain piece of the motion. And you may have tried to do a friendly amendment and it didn't, or an amendment in general didn't go through. And you know, essentially you are taking a position, and the position I would say in many cases where I've had an abstention is that I just may not agree with the entirety of the motion. I'm not voting against the motion, which would be a flat out opposition to the motion, but I'm not voting in favor of the motion because there's something in there that maybe I just don't agree with. And so that's why I think it's important to have some abstentions. And I think trustees have been very clear at this board through a lot of discussion as why they may not be supporting a motion, and then they subsequently abstain from the motion or oppose the motion. So I do think it's part of it's good procedure to have, and I would recommend that we keep that in place. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kennedy. Trustee Kelly?
Yep, thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. I am hearing the fulsome discussion regarding this and definitely understand both sides, but I do have to agree with Trustee Ahern-Zernata, because as trustees, is it not also our responsibility to do the research in advance? We are given an agenda, usually a few days to a week in advance, and we have all the information, well, not all of the information, but we could contact superintendents, contacts about our questions in advance. So I think we have the ability to make informed decisions either before or during the table. And if we don't ask our questions before, we have the chance to ask during when it's presented at the board table. So I just wanted to add that in, but definitely hearing the full discussion here.
Thank you so much, Trustee Kelly. You've been very patient, Trustee Ahern-Zernata. Did you want to speak before I allow our next speaker?
I do, just a few minutes. I'm hearing a lot of discussion, and it's fine if we disagree. That's what this is all about. That's what a democratic society is about. But one of the things that I keep hearing is that we don't have the information to make a good decision. So is there a systemic issue here? Are we not getting the information that we need to make an informed decision? Because I think I've heard it from, and don't quote me and look at the tape and say I had 3 and there was 4 people. Multiple people said we didn't have the information so why do we not have the information? So Trustee Kelly just kind of talked about it, right? What are we not getting that we can't make an informed decision at the table? We have multiple motions at our disposal. If we read our bylaws, to postpone, lay on the table, whatever we need to do before we vote to make sure we have. So that I offer up systemically, do we have an issue that we don't feel, some people around the table feel we don't have the information to either say yes or no. I just offer that for the good of the group.
Thank you. Trustee Saunders, you have your hand up again?
Yeah, just for instance, tonight when I had to abstain, Superintendent Del Soro sent me the legal case on this issue with student trustees. He gave it to me just as we were voting, so I thought, well, I haven't had an opportunity to read this, and this wasn't made available to me before. So I thought, okay, in good conscience, I can't make a clear decision on this until I actually read this. So there's an example of getting information very late, where I thought in good conscience, I should be a bit more informed before I vote for something. So I abstained, and I can count on one hand the number of times I've ever abstained. So, and they've always been the same issue where I feel I don't have enough information to make an informed decision. So I think that's important, that if you're going to vote, it has to be an informed decision. It cannot be a compelled decision, based on, I looked at it later and I decided it was a yes or no. So I think it gives you that opportunity. If you honestly feel you cannot make a decision because you do not have everything in front of you, it gives you an opportunity to say, I'm going to abstain, but I'm certainly going to follow this up and do some more research. And as you know, our policy decisions eventually filter their way up to the board, at which point you can make an informed decision. So I think taking this away, compelling a decision based on, if you're not comfortable, you may not even know which way you want to vote. So I don't think it's a good idea.
Thank you, Trustee Saunders. Trustee Kennedy, your hand is still up. Was that from before?
It was, but if you're allowing discussion, sure.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think part of it could be also, I think trustees have done a very good job of giving information for motions ahead of time, like the references at the bottom. But it could also be that during discussion, a trustee has heard some comments from a superintendent, good information, more information, or another trustee, and they started thinking about something, and maybe maybe I want to do a little more research on this and I have to vote now. Maybe I want to take it back to my constituents and see what they think of this motion, given this new information that I've heard. So I do think you are making a decision when you do abstain. And the decision I see is that you simply cannot support the motion in its entirety. I mean, if you didn't support it at all, it's simple to just oppose it. But that's the position I usually take. I can't support the whole motion in its entirety, not necessarily about new information. That can happen. And that's another good reason to abstain. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Kennedy. Trustee Saunders, I assume your hand's up from before?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. So I don't see any other hands up. I think we've had a. Oh, sorry, Trustee. Thank you.
Sorry, so-
Superintendent McCutcheon. Yes, go ahead.
I'll speak again, it seems.
You are absolutely allowed to speak again.
So I've heard a lot of things here, and these are definitely two very well-spoken, through you, Madam Chair, so I
Yes, of
forgot
course.
about that. These are definitely two very well-spoken sides, and I think there are points on each side. But I've heard some people, I don't know, I think two people, don't quote me on that, don't look back at the tape. I'd argue that who said that you cannot have suitable dialogue with an abstention. And I don't think that's true. I think a member who has voted you into this position can still ask you, why did you abstain? Just as they can ask you, why were you opposed to this? Why are you in favor of this? And a member should be able to explain clearly why they did abstain, right? Sometimes you wish to show neutrality, and that is a valid reason. Granted, again, you should usually take a side, but I think having that option open is definitely still vital. And it doesn't take away from scrutiny. You can still be scrutinized if you abstain just as much as you were opposed or in favor, especially since, as we've established, it's not the same as opposing and it's not the same as being in favor of a certain motion. It is its own separate thing, as Trustee Murphy established. Now, again, there's the whole information thing, and I do agree that the vast majority of the time, everyone here has suitable information. But again, we don't live in a perfect world. Sometimes we don't have suitable information for one reason or another. Sometimes we hear another opinion last second. And while there are ways that you can still get more information and use your time, oftentimes in board meetings, in the chaos of them that can sometimes occur, you don't have the time in order to actually go ahead. Obviously, Trustee Murphy mentioned there are ways around this, but sometimes you don't use those ways, not for lack of trying, but simply because we've passed that point in the procedure or this or that, something or the other, yes? And so in that moment, your only option is to abstain if you still don't have enough information. And again, I've reiterated this like 5 times, but usually you will have enough information. But there are cases, however rare, that you don't. And this doesn't reduce transparency, in my eyes at least. I'm sure Trustee Orange-Nada can argue against that. I would say that for all intents and purposes, abstaining is 100% necessary, just as an option. Also, this hasn't been an issue historically. Yes, this can become an issue in the future, but again, as I've established like 15 times, abstaining is not the same thing as being opposed. I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Trustee Hannah. Trustee Murphy, you snuck your hand back in there.
I did. Great points all around. I think to me, it's obvious that we're talking really about perception and opinion versus facts, which, if we had Dr. Collmore do a survey on the implications of abstaining with our stakeholders, then that would be fact. But I don't think we can spend the board's resources for that. So then let's talk about the other element, which is risk. So, basically, parliamentary rules or Robert's Rules of Order is we cannot make decisions that are unlawful, right? So we need a legal opinion to understand if we're going to go down this road, is this an unlawful decision? We know other boards have done it, so they've maybe have taken the risk. So I would put that on the table. I don't want to spend money where we don't have to, if we don't have to, but I don't think we could make a final decision on making a change if we don't understand if there is a risk. I don't know if you could get an AI opinion on this, a cheap and dirty legal opinion. But I think before we go down that road, I think it's worth discussing.
Thank you, Trustee Murphy. Okay, I don't see any other hands up. I think we've had a great. Did you sneak your hand in as well, Trustee? Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've been listening to this conversation patiently and hearing both sides of the conversations. So one thing I want to share with all trustees is one of the roles of the chair is to provide information to trustees. And I'm hearing a lot of trustees say, I didn't have the information. So trustees need information to be sought. It's the role of the chair, but you need to request that well in advance to make informed decisions. I get that, and that's absolutely required to make decisions. So the other part which Trustee Murphy talked about is legal opinions and other stuff. So this is a great discussion, no doubt, but we'll have to look at parliamentarian perspective as well as the legal perspective. Trustees want to go ahead. So that's the one. The other thing which I made a note of is there are some expectations in the Education Act where trustees are mandated to make a decision. For example, on finance, on budgets. And I'm seeing, let me state things the way they are. Trustees need to make a decision on that, on the budget and finance. I've sent emails to trustees many times. We need to say yes or no on that item. There's no two ways about it. And I really do not see full participation from trustees on finance matters, which is a fundamental role of trustees. So I'm not sure whether this amendment is really catered to going in that direction, but there are some requirements under the Education Act where you are required to make a vote and without any abstentions. So those are my few comments which I had. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not going to jinx myself again, but I don't see any other hands up. Good conversation.
Actually, could I add one item?
Oh,
please,
no.
please. I beg of you. I don't think we need through you, Madam Chair. I don't think we need a parliamentary opinion. We know it. We know to the fact that there is that little area where in Robert's rules you can't compel somebody to vote. So we already know the answers to that. So what is the legal risk of compelling somebody to vote? Right? They just saved us $2,500.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Trustee O'Hara, as we wrap this up, was your discussion item? Did you want to make final?
No, got a lot of opinions, a lot to meditate on and ruminate about.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Great. All right. Thank you, everybody, for a great conversation. Okay, we're moving on now to item number 8, which is information items. Information items 8.1 to 8.4 are the administrative procedures provided for your information. These were already approved at the December 1st, 2025 Senior Administrative Meeting. Information item 8.5 lists the upcoming agenda items for the next policy committee meeting in the new year on January the 13th, 2026. Item number 9 is miscellaneous information. There is no miscellaneous information this evening. Item 10 is correspondence. There was none submitted. There is no reason for us to go in camera this evening as we have no in-camera agenda. We do not have any absent committee members this evening, so there's no need for motion to excuse. So we are moving on to item number 13, which is adjournment and closing prayer. May I have a motion to adjourn? Trustee Carabella. Thank you. Seconder, Trustee O'Hara. Yes. Great. All in favor? Yes. Perfect. Any opposed? Great. Thank you. And Trustee O'Hara will end the meeting with a closing prayer.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Great job on your first meeting. Well done. It's time of the cross in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Gracious God, thank you for guiding our time together. May the decisions made here bear good fruit, and may we carry forward your wisdom and peace. Bless our work, our hearts, and all those we serve. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
It's okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Yeah.